No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name is Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRNradio.
Are you ready to reach for the stars? Tune in to The Lost Wanderer, the #1 monthly podcast on good pods in astronomy. Join our host, Jeff, as he takes you on an interstellar adventure to explore the mysteries of space and the wonders of science. From rocket launches and distant galaxies to the latest discoveries in astronomy, each episode is a thrilling ride through the cosmos. Don't just gaze at the stars. Come explore the universe with us. Follow The Lost Wanderer wherever you get your podcasts, and let's discover the stars together.
Designer Jeff Lewis is back with Hollywood House Lift.
I'm excited to be working with new clients.
I'm not getting rid of that.
I hope I never see you both again.
Yeah. An all-new season.
Those have to go. That has to go.
From oh, wow,
It's been an actual nightmare.
to oh, wow.
This is such an upgrade.
With celebrities like Josh Duhamel, Christina Ricci, and Gina Rodriguez.
Dazzle me, Jeff.
It looks like Chuck E. Cheese.
Stream an all-new season of Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis, now streaming on Freevee.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome everyone to another episode of He Said, She Said. I am one of your hosts for this evening, Aggie, and with me is the very awesome Rowdy Rick. How are you doing tonight?
I am over here trying not to snicker on the air.
Okay, why?
Because the NASA announcer said erection and backdoor like a couple sentences apart, and I'm not 12 you are.
That's right. Today we are blessed to have our astronauts back. They did a perfect splashdown, and I think we're still waiting to get them out of the capsule. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're in communication with NASA, so we know everybody's okay. The capsule is upright in stable in condition 1. All crew members are reporting green, but for some reason the comms between the astronauts and the master diver who's supposed to be recovering them are non-functional, so NASA's trying to work out a patch. So, because there are things they have to do before they can pop the can and let the master divers start pulling them out of the capsule. And
right.
So yeah, but yeah, so I'm sitting here and I'm getting ready for the show and I'm listening, and NASA announcer sounds completely serious. And he's like, now we're just waiting for the erection of what they call the front porch. And then a few sentences later, because at this point I'm trying not to snicker because dude said erection sounding like Walter Cronkite. And then a couple sentences later, well, since we can't seem to make communication, they're working on some backdoor action to make that happen. And I'm like, okay, you're doing this on purpose. You're doing this on purpose. But yeah, so that was my afternoon. I've been hanging out watching NASA coverage.
Oh, I bet it was fun to watch. I mean, unfortunately, I was out and about running errands and everything. I was trying to keep abreast of, oh, look at me, abreast of what was going on through,
Oh
through
my.
X. But I'm running on like 3 hours of sleep. I had a bout of insomnia last night, so I'm kind of I'm at that point where I'm so tired that I could possibly start hallucinating. So
I mean,
we'll see how this
maybe,
goes.
maybe you're hallucinating right now. Are you sure we're doing a show right now?
Are we?
Maybe you're hallucinating right now. You ever thought of that? I don't
Hmm.
know. If your world is so boring that you hallucinate about me, then you may need more help than we thought.
Well,
Just
I
saying.
blame CERN. That's my standard. I
I
don't
mean,
care what's going on with the world. I blame CERN for it.
I blame CERN for everything, so that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, I couldn't sleep last night. It's CERN's fault. That kind of thing. There was a dead armadillo under my porch. CERN. Just everything is CERN's fault, regardless of the hierarchy of trouble it causes my life. So, yeah. But anyway, we're glad that they made Splashdown, that it went without a hitch. And I'm just waiting, to hear from the comms and everything. Because you can't just pop the hatch open. So
Yeah, it looks like they still haven't gotten them out yet. I have a feed up, even though we're not. Actually, you know what? Since I guess I could actually put that on the screen and just have it muted. So hang on a second.
sure.
That way,
CERN
they
is
can.
not innocent. CERN will never be innocent. CERN is guilty of every single crime known to man. And
Jeff, quit saying CERN is innocent in my chat, sir. I haven't even looked, and I know it's you. You're
oh
the
no, it was
only one.
Stephen. It was
Wait,
Stephen.
it was Steven? That sounded like
Yes.
a Jeff thing. Sorry, Jeff, if you're listening. That was friendly fire, but yeah, it sounded like a Jeff moment. Anyway, let's put this on the screen. That way,
Uh,
everybody can kind
awesome.
of at least
There
see
we
what's
go.
going on.
Yeah.
So, while we're
So
talking, so we can kind of keep abreast of things. See what I did there?
yeah, so I do have one of the things that I did today was I had to run to Lowe's and get some gardening stuff because I had a raised herb garden. I had I had found the perfect box and I had constructed a stand for it and everything, and it was on the side of the house. Um, but apparently, the deer liked it a lot. So,
Ah,
and it was just the right height for the deer not to have to like bend over. So it was perfect. They just did away with their. They left the lavender alone. Apparently, they're not a fan of lavender, but they ate pretty much everything else. And then I was like, okay, fine. I'll just get some chicken wire and and put wire around it or whatever. But then upon closer inspection, um, apparently they liked the wood that I used as well because they were like scratching it and everything, so it made it weaker. And I said, okay, I can't use wood over here, especially on the side of the house that I seldom look at. It's you know how each home has one side of the house when you never go, and that's where you put all your junk or whatever. that that side. So so I decided, okay, let me go see if I can find something that will be a little more sturdy, hardier. And went to Tractor Supply and I got a trough. And I got a small trough. So it was I'm gonna say it was maybe the size of a desk, that long and about that wide, and brought it home. And I decided, I researched and everything. I got some rocks for the bottom. I got some weed film, to put to prevent the soil from falling down where the rocks are, so that when the water filters through, it stays with the rocks, and then it comes back up as it forms condensation, whatever. So did that, put in my herbs and everything, and now it looks really pretty. And it's on my deck. And I'm like, if the deer find it, I'm just taking my gun out. Just- it'll be right there. But they never come up that close. They will go to that side of the house because there's a lot of clover there. So they enjoy, eating the clover there. But apparently, I set up a smorgasbord for the deer, and I had to actually go back to the drawing board, and that's what I was doing today. Was resetting up my herb garden, and it looks nice. I have my basil, my oregano, my lavender, which survived. I have my parsley, I have dill, I have rosemary. So I'm excited for that. My mom was very excited for that too. Of course she is, because it's a plant. But anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah. She's just happy you're gonna have all the spices she needs to come up and make you fat again.
oh no, no, she's already talking about that. She asked me to send her pictures, and so I sent her a picture on Easter Sunday, and she said I lost weight. I said, yeah, that's the point. This is why I went through what I went through. And like I said, it was a lot harder this time because for a whole month I was hosting. So I was cooking for everybody, which meant, I wasn't just eating salad or whatever. There was no rabbit food to be had for me. So I had to improvise and cut down my portions and do the separate meal for myself and whatnot and everything. But she was upset that I had lost weight. And I'm like, I'm not even the thinnest daughter you have. That honor belongs to sister number 3. Why are you mad at me? Go after her. And she's
Nice.
like, no, no, I want you, you need to gain weight. I'm like, no, I do not, mom. So, but she's got plans. She's already planning. She's going to Puerto Rico for a while. And then when she comes back, she will be staying with me. Pray for me because I'm going to need the help I can get.
Nice. So just
Yeah.
just to keep everybody abreast of what we have on the screen, you have me saying this word a lot now. It's your fault, just so you know. Looks like they have successfully powered down the capsule, and they are about to send out the front porch raft, and the recovery crew is about to make the approach. So within a few minutes, we'll find out if we got Borg back or people. Just saying.
I'm so excited. I mean, it has been decades since we've witnessed something like this,
Yeah, I mean, it really has. I mean, and Jen and I talked about this last night. We're both young enough that well, she's even younger than me, but I was born in '73, so we weren't really doing moon stuff much anymore by the time I was old enough to be paying attention to what was going on. And there was always this thing of, with all the sci-fi and everything else that we watched all the time, we were like, okay, so when are we going to get to do all this cool stuff? When are we going to start, having folks going out and mining asteroids and colonies on Mars and colonies on the moon and all these cool things that we see everywhere? And it's like, at one point, it's like everything just kind of stopped, and now all of a sudden, it's like, okay, we're doing this again, and I'm happy to see it. I really am.
Oh man, I'm just like, I'm it's how I always say everything old is new again. This is old becoming new again, you know.
Yep.
Um so this is, for me, it's so exciting. It hurts though because this is something my dad really wanted to witness for a very long time. And it kept being postponed and postponed and postponed. And my father died last year, so he was not able to witness this. But I am sure that he is extremely happy at this turn of events because he had been hoping for this for decades. And I don't know if you remember, remember that commercial about cheese? It was for I think it was for the cheesemakers in Wisconsin or something. They said in 1969, man went to the moon and found out it was not made of cheese. We have not been back since. And that was one of the greatest commercials ever. But it started making me think, because
Yeah,
I
I
remember
remember.
when I was very little, my dad took me outside. Um, I was I was not even 3. I was maybe 2.5 when we landed on the moon. And I don't remember this particularly, but I remember my dad reminding me of it as I grew older, about how he took me outside to look at the moon and he pointed to it and said, "There's a man there now." And he would remind me about this when I was 4 and 5 years old or whatever. And every time the moon was out there, I kept looking for this man. Okay. I kept looking for a man for the longest time. And it wasn't until I was about 10 years old that I finally figured it out. Wait, he's not, he was there, but he's not there anymore. And I should stop looking. But you had the songs "Man on the Moon," you had, the movie, you had, the books and all that stuff talking about how, men go to the moon and all that stuff. And so it was silly, I know, but I was young, in my defense. And my dad never really told me what was going on. He just said there was a guy up there, okay? I can be forgiven.
Nice. Nice. Oh,
Oh, goodness. So oh my goodness, look, there's so many people there
yep.
now.
There's tons of people. Still waiting for the front porch erection. I'm just saying. They said
Uh,
it, not me. They
yes,
said
I'm
they're going to
sure.
erect the front porch, so I'm still waiting for the front porch erection.
Oh man.
Not my, it's not my fault, man. Not my fault.
Anyway, well, while this is still going on. Yeah, so one of the you sent me a message asking what to talk about tonight, and this just popped into my head because I was lamenting the fact that I had watched Golden Girls the night before, and I still lament the fact that Betty White died so close to her 100th birthday. She didn't quite make it to
Yeah,
100, right?
that was sad.
And we always said she must be protected at all costs, and that's something that we say about several celebrities every so often. And there are a few that we're like, oh, we must protect her or we must protect him at all costs. But then there are those that should not be ever protected for any reason and should be just thrown to the wolves. That's just my personal take. So that's what, I figured we could talk about that because
Well, I thought it was a rather punny topic since we're talking about stars that should either be, completely destroyed or protected while we're returning from the stars. So I thought that was
yeah,
kind of I thought that
that's a
was a
good
bit of a
tie-in. That's a good
I
tie-in.
thought
We'll
that
go
was
with that.
I, I thought that was kind of a bit of a punny thing, which was like, you know what? We're talking about battling for the stars basically, so I can put this on the screen at the same time. It's okay. Plus that way anybody who's hanging out with us can still see what's going on. So, but yeah, I don't really have much of a list to think of because honestly, a lot of the folks that I would normally want to protect don't they're not alive anymore anyway. There are a couple that I was able to think of, but so I'm curious to see how much overlap we're gonna have.
Yeah, I
So
didn't really make a list, but it was amazing to me how many more there are on the should not be protected than there are on the protected side.
well, that's because the good ones are an endangered species, especially in Hollywood. I mean, that's just kind of a
Yes.
thing anymore.
Yes, they are.
But
So
yeah. So um, anyway, who wants to go first?
you can go first.
Okay, so in the needs to be protected at all costs, and he's young enough that hopefully we'll get to do it for a while. My first one, and these are in no particular order, is Keanu Reeves.
Oh,
Because, dude,
yeah, definitely on my list too.
from
Yes.
everything I know about Keanu Reeves and the few people that I know that have worked in the industry, he is probably one of the most down to earth Hollywood guys ever. And I just find that really awesome when people get to the point where they're doing what they love, making really good money from it, getting really well known, and they don't let it change them because that is rare. So he's definitely on my gotta be protected list.
No, he's
Plus,
a
I've not ever really seen a bad movie for him. Even the ones that are cheesy, I still enjoy.
I think there's only one movie I didn't like that he was in, and that was Knock Knock. I didn't like that movie at all.
I don't think I've seen that one. So maybe that's
Um,
why I have movies of his that I don't know about any bad ones because I don't think I've seen that one. But
no,
anyway,
I really did not like that one. It does not end well, and I just, I really, mm. But outside of that, yes. And one of my favorite films, it was a total sleeper. Most people don't even know about it. It's A Walk in the Clouds. And it is one of the most beautifully filmed movies that came out. I want to say it came out in mid 90s or so. Um, Deborah Messing, I think that was her first movie role, was in it. Anthony Quinn plays the patriarch. Giancarlo Giannini. There were a lot of people in it, and it's it takes place in a vineyard. It's a love story, obviously, but it's a very honorable love story, and it shows the way that the old is trying to progress to the new stuff, and this takes place after World War II. So it's very period. Of course, I fell in love with all of the clothing and everything that was in it. It was great. But a lot of people don't know about that movie, and it is one of my favorites. I will literally go out of my way to watch this movie over and over and over again. I can sing every single song in Spanish that they have in that movie. I can sing. It's just it's fun. I love it. But like he's not an Academy Award caliber type of actor. He is a consistent draw to any film. Any project that he signs on, it's going to make money. Why? Because people are going to go watch him. Why? Because they like him as a person, you know. So I mean, look what happened with John Wick. Everybody thought, oh, nothing. And then, oh, wait, Keanu's in it? What? And that just, went, it was total fire.
speaking of John Wick, did I ever tell you about the fan theory that ties The Matrix and John Wick together?
No.
So in fandom, theories, John Wick is actually Neo as an agent in The Matrix.
Okay. I can see it.
Well, and honestly, the funny thing is, it actually kind of makes sense because you see him pulling off like this impossible stuff where, if it wasn't a movie, dude would be dead like 14,000 times over. And you're like, so maybe there is something to that.
Okay. I can see it.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, definitely he is one to be protected at all costs. I don't think anybody has ever said any unkind things about him at all. So
Yeah. No, none.
totally agree. Definitely on my list. Must be protected at all costs. And it's so funny because, he's he's a couple years older than I am. Maybe he's in his early 60s, right?
I think so. I thought we were around the
And
same age, but I think he may be a little older than me.
that is one of the funniest things because when John Wick came out, um, I watched it on a premium channel or something, and I was like, this movie kicks ass. This is so cool and everything. And my daughter was walking through the den, and she happened to look when, Keanu Reeves was on, and she stops and says, "Oh my goodness, this movie's with Keanu Reeves." I said, "Yeah, you know him? Oh my goodness, he is so cute." And I looked at her, it's like, you realize he's my age, right? And she's like, "Oh, please don't ruin it for me." I was like, "It's okay, honey. It's okay. You can crush on Keanu Reeves. He looks way younger than what he really is, so don't worry about it." So she didn't feel too bad at the
It's
time, but at the time she's
probably
like, "Please don't ruin it for me."
probably a good thing that your daughter's not as much of a smart ass as I am, because I wouldn't have missed a beat. I'd be like, that's all right. He can call me daddy.
No. Oh no, my goodness, no.
I can call him daddy. I guess I should say that backwards. I can call him daddy. But yeah, I'm doing it for you.
Oh boy,
Anyway,
boy, that would have been bad. So, but yeah,
but
totally agree with Keanu Reeves, but he must be protected at all costs. Do you have, and on the flip side, do you have one that you would not protect?
on the so this one's interesting for me, because this one as a kid would have been somebody that I would have put in the first category of must protect at all cost, and now I wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire, and that would be Mark Hamill. So
Okay, yeah, totally. All right,
yeah,
I get it.
he's actually been on both sides of my list, because as a kid I looked up to him. I thought he was awesome as Luke Skywalker. I've seen him in a couple other things that he's done, and then I got to know him as I got older, and it's one of those things where that old axiom, never meet your heroes. Well, the funny thing about
Yes,
social media is they bring them to your front porch. So now you get to meet them whether you want to or not. And you're like, ah, fick.
correct, correct. So, well, I guess on that same level, one of mine that must be protected at all costs, and I'm sure he's on your list too, it's William Shatner.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Got, got,
Totally, totally. I mean,
gotta,
it's
gotta protect the shat, because he's the shit.
yes, yes. I saw his brand commercial just the other day, and I was just like, "Oh my goodness, this guy is he's so great." And it's funny because you and I are both old enough to remember when his career started going, you know, kind of leveling down. He just wasn't popular anymore. He was doing some made for TV movies like Kingdom of the Spiders. Um, yeah, that that was a fun flick. I'm not gonna lie, that one was actually pretty funny. But
I mean, they were fun, but they were cheesy.
yes,
But
very. And he put out his video, not his video, his album Has Been, and people loved it. And then of course Robert Weiss, got helm to direct the first Star Trek film, right? I think it was Robert Wise that
wait,
kind of brought him back into the whole Star Trek universe. And after that, he was on the ascendance, I suppose. But it was pretty rough in the 70s for him until the Star Trek, the motion picture. And one of the things that he had a lot of trouble with was making fun of himself. I think he didn't like it because he felt he was a serious actor, and he was. But then when he started embracing it, that's when his career started to really take off.
I
I
think that might be an age thing though too, because I used to hate, you know, I have a very self-deprecating sense of humor now, and I didn't used to. I think part of it just becomes, at some point you just realize you don't really give a shit what anybody thinks anymore, and you're just gonna chill. And I think he's been there for a while, and I think part of it was because, what happened with Star Trek, because it basically he was able to revive it. It got 3 seasons. They thought they were going to get at least 5. They didn't, and then the movies came back, and so that kind of reasserted him with a little bit of popularity. And the next thing you know, which I find really interesting, dude had more time as a campy ass TV cop than he did as William Shatner or as Captain Kirk on the little screen. Because
yes,
T.J.
he
Hooker,
did.
which is arguably one of the worst cop shows of the early '80s, had 6 seasons. 6.
Yes,
How is
but
that even possible?
what's her name? Heather, whatever her name is, was in
Yeah,
it.
that was one
Adrian
of the reasons.
Smed,
Adrian
uh,
Zemet was in it. I know.
Zemed was in it. So
There were people that people were tuning in to see, but I'm just like, everybody talks about how cheesy he was during Star Trek. He had the same talking style on that show too, and it didn't work for me as well. I've actually been rewatching it lately because it's on one of the apps that I have, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just turn it on while I'm sleeping. But the funny thing is, things that I never noticed about that show when I was a kid, like to avoid any type of getting slammed for using actual police departments. It's supposed to be set in L.A., but it's L.A. County Police Department, which is not a thing as far as I know, because all their patches say LCPD, and yeah, that's not a thing.
I think,
So
well, there were a lot of TV shows did something similar, like Farscape. It wasn't NASA; it was something completely different, but you knew it was NASA that they were talking about.
yeah,
So
it's just funny to me how many different things that people are like, oh, they'll get mad at us if we say that. I'm like, dude, if you're doing yeah, I don't know, but yeah. But yeah, and it's funny because I actually looked it up because I was like, well, maybe it's some other little town in California or something that I've never heard of.
LA
So I
County.
googled, it, and I was like, no, it's actually supposed to be set in LAPD, but to avoid any lawsuit issues or anything else, they actually set it in basically a fictitious version of LA in the LA County Police Department. I'm like, that's not how any of this is supposed to work. But whatever.
That's not the way it works. A county police department is literally the sheriff's office, isn't it?
Usually, yes, which is why I thought it was funny. But
Okay. So I guess on the flip side of that, if I had to, hmm, I would have to say not not to save George Takei. I'm I'm good with
oh
that.
my.
I know. I That's harsh, but
No, he's earned it. He's a dick.
he did. He did. I do not apologize for it. I said what I said. I stand by what I said. I will die on that hill. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's another one that as a kid I would have had him on the other side of the list. But as I got
Y-
older, yeah,
The
he's
thing
put
is,
himself
I
in the
watch,
other one.
the episodes that he was in for Twilight Zone. I watched him in, he had, I want to say two or three episodes on Murder She Wrote. And this was a man that actually, at least one of the characters, he lampooned himself as, being Japanese. So he had the accent, he spoke with that very heavy accent and was not doing Japanese culture any favors when he was doing that. And this was back in the 80s, late 80s. So there was really no reason to have that type of characterization on in a movie or anything, but they still did it. And the fact that he did it anyway kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But then again, this was back when we didn't take any offense over anything, and now everybody does, especially
Yeah.
him, and he's the one that did it. So I whatever. But yeah, that would be
Well,
the
that's
one
like
I would pick.
who was it? Fucking Peter Dinklage that was like, yeah, no, you can't, you shouldn't bring in short people to play dwarves. That's rude, dude. That's the only reason
Yeah,
anybody
he
knows.
closed the door after he walked through it. I'm like,
That's the
it
only
pulled
reason
the
anybody knows who you are. You crawled through the fucking dwarf door and then shut it, bastard.
that was that was egregious because I'm sure you remember. What was the name of the movie? Was it Over the Rainbow or Under the Rainbow? I think it was Under the Rainbow with Carrie
I think it was
Fisher.
under.
Yeah, with Carrie Fisher, about the having to cast so many little people for the Wizard of Oz. It was, and if y'all have not seen that movie, it's actually really, really cool. But this is something that Hollywood has always had on reserve. There is always a need for certain types, certain stereotypes, certain types of people, and that's why you go to the casting director. They will have all of these files and photographs of people that will fit that particular persona. And all of that has gone to hell lately because now people are saying, well, you can't portray a trans unless you're trans. And I'm like, well, wait, it's acting. you know, they went after one of one of the people I want to protect at all costs because he portrayed somebody who was large and he was not as large. So, it has gotten ridiculous. But
Well, yeah,
anyway,
but the whole thing with Dinklage is you would figure that would be the other way around. You figure he'd be pissed off because they were bringing in tall people to play short people. But no,
right?
for him, it's like, no, that's insulting. No, it's not. No, it's
No,
not.
it
That's
isn't. It is
that's the only
not.
reason why anybody knows who
Billy
you are. But anyway,
Billy Barty was probably one of the best known little people in the business, and he himself said that when he was cast because they needed a little person, people didn't see him as a little person. They just saw him as somebody who could portray the little person. And there's a distinction there because he was regarded as an actor first. It just so
yeah.
happened that he was this stature and that's what they needed, you know. But Dinklage just like, he just closed the door on everybody. I'm really hoping that that door is like completely blown apart by other actors.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. But anyway,
So, all right. So, what do you got? Who do you got for saving?
for saving again, these are in no particular order, but my next one has to be Sandra Bullock.
Oh, good one.
I like me some Sandra Bullock, and not just for the obvious teenage boy related reasons either. she's actually really cool from what I heard.
No, she's another. I mean, yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Totally agree. She's
But yeah,
funny. She's kind. She goes out of her way for people. What's not to like about her?
the thing is, she basically she plays the same kind of characters that she actually kind of is in real life. I mean, I think the most controversial role she's ever done was The Blind Side, but that's all because of the story that came out after the fact when the guy tried to profit off of everything because he said that they were mean to him, etc. And I still don't really know what was going on with that. But one of my favorite movies that she was ever in had to be Miss Congeniality. That was just fun. And
That
then
was so perfect. She was so
the
great
Demo-
in it.
Demolition Man was awesome too because I love the scene where Sylvester Stallone thinks they're about to do, the thing, and she's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "What are you doing?"
Exchanging body fluids? Ew.
I feel like we're kind of there now. If I'm
Yeah,
being honest.
pretty much. She had the best stuff though. All of the kits that she had in that apartment of hers was so great.
I mean, she's been in some awesome movies though. She was in Gravity. She was in Speed, which you would think would not be a very good movie, but her and Keanu Reeves together. See what I did there? Um,
Yep,
that was just awesome. She was in While You Were Sleeping, which was another really good
I
movie.
love that
Miss
film.
Congeniality, and then The Proposal, which I have to admit I only ever saw because I was on a date, but still, it was a good movie. It was a good movie.
My daughter made me watch The Proposal because Ryan was in it, and I was like, okay, fine. But Betty Davis stole the show. I mean, Betty White. I
Yeah.
loved her in that.
Dude, so one of the funniest things about Betty White, and again, I think this comes with the age thing, is when actresses and actors get to the point where they just start having fun just for the sake of having fun. Like seeing her in what the hell? What was the name of what was the movie with the giant alligator or whatever it was?
Oh,
I
Lake
can't,
Placid.
Lake Placid. Yeah, seeing her in that, I was like, that's not something I would have expected to see her in, really.
No, and
Even
she
though
was she was I think before that one she did Hard Rain. And she was this cantankerous bitch in that movie, and her husband was just finally just snapped and just yelled at her. I was just Like, whoa, this is Betty White.
Nice. You can't yell at Betty White like that. Anyway, but yeah.
But yeah, she's, again, we should have protected her better.
We did our
Honestly.
best, man. Some of us that tried to, anyway.
Okay, so wouldn't you protect this time?
So oddly enough, most of my picks for that have started out on the other side. This is the same. Will Smith, for me in the 80s and 90s, would have been somebody that I would have said protect at all costs. And now I'm just like, meh, don't care. So, yeah, he's on my don't really care list anymore.
Yeah. What a fall from grace that guy took. But
Yeah.
I think the fall from grace started happening right around the time that he was making Wild Wild West. That's when that started to turn for me.
It
He
actually
had
started earlier than that, but I'll explain in a minute. Finish your thought.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. He had just done Men in Black, and he had done, I forgot what the other one was, but somebody from Time Magazine asked him, it's like, because he was working on Wild Wild West, they asked him, it's like, what does a movie need to be a blockbuster? You know what his answer was?
Me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it. That's what he said. And what happened with Wild Wild West? Was it a blockbuster? No, it was not.
No, it was.
Even though it had Kenneth Branagh in it and what's his name, Kevin Kline.
Yeah.
It did not do well. It did not translate the way it should have. And I think, in my opinion, Will Smith was miscast for that role.
Yeah. Actually, I guess you're right. I guess Wild Wild West was first, but the one that stuck out for me, and I didn't find out about this until years later, was iRobot, because I was doing a rewatch of that a few months ago, and somehow and it's because he's not even listed, but I never knew that it was Alan Tudyk that did the name for Sonny.
Yes.
And during the pre-screenings, he was testing higher for the audience than Will Smith, so Will Smith demanded they remove his name credit.
Everybody liked Sonny better than Will Smith's character. Even removing Alan Tudyk from the credits did not diminish Sonny. And there were, I remember a friend of mine who works in merchandising for big films and stuff like that. One of the things they wanted to put out was a Barbie type of doll that was Sonny. They really wanted to do that, but they felt that if you're putting the spotlight on Sonny, you're taking it away from the main character, who was Will Smith. So they actually scratched that off.
That just seems
And that's
crazy
too
to
bad.
me.
It would have made them a lot of money.
That just seems crazy to me, because look, this is my thing. So if I were Will Smith, or if I was Will Smith's agent, and I found out that, hey, they're thinking about putting this doll out that's tied to the movie, but it doesn't have your face on it, but I've negotiated like 2% of the cut for you, I'd have been like, I'm down. Let's do that. I don't care. It's making me money. My name's still in there. Everybody knows who I am. I'm good with that. But yeah, it just astounded me, because, like I said, that was something that I didn't even recognize. Like, because the only thing I ever really remember seeing Alan Tudyk in before Resident Alien was Firefly, and I didn't realize it was because for the longest time he was like prolifically doing voiceover work, and he was in so many things that I watched with my kids, and I never realized it was him until I was looking through stuff a few months ago, and I'm like, wait, he was in that? He was in that too? He was in that too?
Oh yes.
Holy crap!
Oh, yes.
Like,
and don't forget, he was actually in a film with Sandra Bullock. 28 Days.
You're right. 28 Days. I forgot about that.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's done. Who can forget A Knight's Tale? Oh my word, he was so adorable in there. He had red hair, and I was in love with this guy. Yeah, Aggie has a thing for redheads. So I think
I
Tudyk
think
is
my I
just
think my ex might have killed that for me, but same. Yeah, same.
no, Tudyk as an actor, he is fantastic. As a voice actor, he's incredible. He has so many voices. And somebody compared him to, almost being like Mel Blanc. And he said, I am nowhere near that league, but he enjoys making these voices so much. And this is something that voice actors will tell you. You're actually acting in that booth. You're not sitting down just saying these words. You're acting the whole thing out as you're saying these things. And that actually improves the quality, the tone, the delivery, and all that stuff. Which is why when sometimes you're looking at the making of and whatever, and you see the actor, and actually they're doing stuff in the booth. That's part of the voice as well. That it's kind of a necessity. And sometimes watching Alan Tudyk doing this, it's more entertaining than actually watching the movie itself. Oh,
Nice.
and don't forget Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Ooh, I did forget about that one.
Oh no, that was primo. And of course he was he did a cameo in I wanted not Daredevil. The one with Ryan Reynolds.
Uh, oh, I know it. Shit,
Deadpool 2.
Deadpool. I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but yeah, wasn't it? I think it was the second one. You're right.
Yeah, it was the second one, and he's at the truck, and Cable steals the truck. So yeah, that was him. I mean, he does, and he will do these. He will do these random cameos, not you know. And at first, when he first started doing them, most people would not catch on. Now people are just looking for them because they know that. Oh, they heard he's got a cam. Oh, we got to look for him, and sometimes that takes away from the film because you're so busy looking for Alan
Well, like
Tudyk.
for me, and I didn't even know he was in it, but the brightest spot for me in the entire new Superman movie was finding out that he played the voice of one of that he was the voice of one of the robots. And there was a scene that he improved, and it stopped the entire production for like 30 minutes because nobody could stop laughing about it. Because there's a scene where, and I think he was robot number 4 or something. And there was a scene where he'd been injured or something or damaged, and he's like, I hope someday you give me a name. And he's like, and Superman's, well, like, number 4 is a name. He's like, Gary is also a name. And everybody just lost it. Because it wasn't part of the script, and everybody just went nuts, and it took like 30 minutes to get everybody calmed down well enough to start shooting again. But yeah, just the little bit that he did for the robot made that entire movie for me because the rest of it was just so chaotic and so weird. And it's another one like Fantastic Four, the newest one, that was really, really good as far as the aesthetics and how it looked, and it looked like it was part of a comic book world, and the story was just meh. And I hate that because that is so Hollywood now. They have gotten so to the point where they put everything into the aesthetic and nothing into the script for so many things now. And I'm like, we're finally getting the worlds that we wanted when I was a kid, when you had Christopher Reeves playing a very awesome Superman, but it was kind of a real world Superman, and it didn't feel like he was part of a
Mhm.
comic book world or anything. But the stories were awesome, except for that one with Richard Pryor, which they should have never
Oh, no, no,
done.
no. No, I have to disagree. The one with
I
Richard
didn't.
Pryor was hilarious. It was
I
it was
didn't. Well,
stupid.
I didn't like that one or 4.
Oh no, four sucked. Not even what was her name? Was it Mariel or Margot Hemingway? One of the Hemingway.
Hemingway.
Which one? Mariel?
Yeah, I think it was Mariel. I
Yeah,
think,
not even she could save it. But
but
number 3, my dad loved that movie so much because he was such a fan of Richard Pryor. And the only thing I ever needed to say to my dad was, I don't believe man can fly. And my dad would lose it. Immediately lose it. Just, I mean, without any explanation. And of course, nobody else would get it but me and my dad. So we had that going.
My dad and I have a few things like that, and it's funny because I always used to do that in front of my brother. We'd say one of the things that only we would get, and my brother would just kind of roll his eyes. But
So we can agree. Alan Tudyk, yes, must be saved.
yes,
Definitely.
um, yeah, but yeah, I don't even think he. I don't think that was. Yeah, somehow we got on a Tudyk thing when I was talking about Will Smith. So, but yeah, he is on my list of to be saved, so that works too.
Yeah, no, because he was Sonny, the robot, and
Yeah.
Will had him removed from the, and it was weird because we're watching iRobot, and my daughter is walking by, and again, she doesn't watch anything with us unless it's something that she wants to watch, and she'll pull me in. But normally, she doesn't like science fiction, so she'll just walk right by. And Sonny is talking, and she stops and says, "Is that Alan Tudyk?" And I was like, "Holy crap, you're good." He's like, and she says, "No, it sounds like this other character from another cartoon." and and I said, "Yeah, it is, it is." And she's really good. She can spot it. That's one of her favorite actors, so she always goes looking, and she will watch everything that he's done, except for Firefly. She won't watch that, and she will not watch Serenity because she knows how it ends. So, and she
So
just cannot deal with
apparently
that.
if they can find a studio for it, they're bringing back Firefly as an animated series, which is kind of cool. I think so. I guess they're going to do it between the end of the show and the Serenity movie because the entire crew is still alive.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
which is cool. So
I'm not sure if you know, but there was a fan film that was funded by, I want to say it was a Kickstarter, and it's called Brown Coats, and it was kind of a tribute to Firefly. It came out maybe 15, 16 years ago.
I'm gonna have to see if I can find it now because no, I didn't know that.
I have it on DVD, and it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. And it's like totally unknown actors. Obviously, these were just fans that got together to make this film. So, but yeah, look for it because I think you can find it online now.
Oh, you probably can. That's like
Yeah.
today. I found something by accident that was absolutely amazing. There's a guy that has a YouTube channel. He's called I think it's just the Star Wars guy, but he's doing a bunch of fan fiction shorts that basically get rid of 7, 8, and 9 by opening episode 10 as if Luke was only dreaming, and he wakes up next to Mara Jade and explains all the stuff that should have been explained in the movie that would have the movies which would have made all the weird things like Ray almost instantly knowing how to use the Force almost understandable because the whole backstory that he's tying in. You remember when Luke got his hand cut off?
Yeah.
Apparently, the Emperor kept it, and Mara's father is actually a clone of Luke.
Wow. Okay.
Or not Mara's father, but the Ray's father is actually a clone of Luke. And when Ray's father figured out what the Emperor wanted to do with Ray, that's when he ran off to the desert planet, yada yada yada. But yeah, I was just like, and there's so many things. Like if you've ever read the book for like episode 7, the book is so much better. Like there's all this
The
explanation
book
that
is
explains
always
all the
better.
weird crap with Snoke and everything else. And I'm just like, if this stuff would have been in the movie, people probably would have understood it a lot more. But yeah, I'm just like, dude, if somebody would actually put the funding into making episode 10 where Luke wakes up and it's all a dream, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Dude. Yes, MD. The we were spacemen was probably one of the
Once We
greatest
Were
podcasts ever.
Spacemen is a
Yeah,
really good
and,
podcast. Yeah.
and I say that as somebody that does one almost daily. So
Okay. So let's see. I guess it's my turn.
yeah, it's your turn.
So on my list of must protect at all costs, and I am sure that the entirety of the internet is with me on this one, Dolly Parton.
See, she was on my list too, so there we go. But yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
So see, simpatico. She must be protected at all costs. This is a woman that has done so much for her community. She established that wonderful charity where you sign up your kid, and the kid will receive a book a month until the age of 5, so that when they start reading, they have a complete library.
Actually, it's until their sixth birthday. They
Sixth
actually
birthday?
get them all the way through age 5 because Gracie was on that for the longest time, and it just stopped a few months ago.
It's an amazing thing that she started. She has done so much for literacy, and this is a woman. I don't even know what her politics are. Honest to God, I really don't. I do know that her faith is strong, and she echoes it in everything that she does. I admire her for that. I had to go get her cookbook, y'all. I went out and got her cookbook. I don't even know if I'm going to be doing any of the recipe. I just had to have it. I had to have it because it was pink and she was on it, and it was just cute and adorable, and she was holding cake. I had to have that cookbook. So this is, for me, she must be protected at all costs. She is somebody that brings joy to everybody. Um she brings faith to everybody. She accepts people for what they are, what they contribute, and helps. Yeah, and when those people are contrary to what she feels is a good way of living, she will actually help them get back on that path. She's amazing. I remember somebody asked her, "Why didn't you have children?" And she said, "I had to make a choice. I had to make a choice. I My career was starting, my husband was my manager and all that stuff, and I had to make a choice. But you know what? I am the best aunt that my nephews and nieces have. I get to enjoy those children, and I get to enjoy everybody else's children. And so I don't feel like I'm missing anything." She had a beautiful response to having made that choice, because somebody was actually trying to put pressure on her to say, well, kids weren't for me. But that wasn't the answer. It wasn't that. It was that she made that choice and then found that she could enjoy other people's children and be there for those children. And so she wasn't missing out. And I can actually admire that. I mean, they were trying to get a gotcha moment from her, and completely failed, in my opinion.
Yeah, but
So yeah, that for me, she is definitely somebody that must be protected at all costs.
one of my favorite one of teenage me's favorite things.
Hmm.
Dolly Parton dressed as a hooker in the best little whorehouse in Texas. Teenage me loved that. Just saying.
Oh my word! I was not allowed to go watch that movie when it came out, so I didn't actually watch it until I was closer to about 25, 26. By then, I was living I was living in Houston, and there was a character named Marvin Zindler. Marvin Zindler, Eyewitness News. Okay, and he was notorious for, consumer. He was a consumer advocate, all that stuff. The Don DeLuise character in Best Little Whorehouse in Texas is based on Marvin Zindler, because Marvin Zindler was the one that outed that cat house, and
Nice.
and the football players that Texas A&M and UT would take over there upon occasion as a treat. Yeah, all that stuff that they made into the musical. Yeah, it came from somewhere, y'all. But yeah, everybody loved Dolly in that film. They really did.
Yeah,
I think the first film that introduced my mom to Dolly Parton was 9 to 5, and my mom loves
that
that
was a
movie.
fun movie. That was a fun
Yeah,
movie.
she loves that movie, and I could watch it over and over again. I think that's the only Jane Fonda movie that I. Nope, nope. I've actually watched two. The other one was Barbarella. Don't judge me. And
I mean,
um,
I watched Barbarella too, but I think I might have been watching it for different reasons.
well, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. was too young. It came on HBO, and I thought, oh, it's science fiction. Cool. That's where I was at. Okay. So I, I didn't know everything that was going on the first time I watched it. Years later, I watch it again and I'm like, oh my goodness. I can't believe I watched this when I was 12.
Meanwhile, George Takei is sounding off in her head going, "Oh
Oh
my."
my. um, but yeah. Oh, MD, I watched Six Pack. I actually went with my sister and her friend, Diane Lane. She was 16 when she did that movie. I remember that.
Yeah,
So
Six Pack was actually a fun movie too. Kinda, I mean, looking back at it now, I'm like, yeah, it's definitely a movie I enjoyed more as a kid, but it was fun.
it was fun. You know, Kenny Rogers doing all the gambler movies and all that stuff, and everybody in my high school was like, "Oh, there's a gambler movie coming out, next Sunday, on ABC, blah 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 blah, and everything." And the teachers actually made allowances because they knew that the kids were going to be watching TV that night.
Oh, nice.
So they didn't actually put in homework on Friday to be turned in on that Monday. So yeah, it's
MD
like,
in the chat. MD in the chat. True story. I actually had a Dolly Parton branded frozen shrimp and grits meal for lunch on Wednesday. So there's a thing.
wow, okay, maybe I should crack open that that cookbook.
Nice. And yes, I have to agree. Barbarella is a weird and not good movie. Nakedness
Well,
notwithstanding.
it was adapted from a graphic novel, right? Or some
I
comic,
think so.
some adult comic or something. Um, I'm not really familiar with it, but I think that's where it came from. And but the next time that I watched it, I was like 20, I think. And I was like, yeah, this movie kind of sucks. And I can't believe I watched it when I was 12. And oh my gosh, what are they doing? He's supposed to be an angel. What? Yeah, I was not a happy camper with this movie.
This is not how angels are supposed to behave. I'm gonna tell my priest. Oh wait, no, I can't say it. I can't. There's no what I was watching. Never mind.
All right, let's see. So, for the ones not to be protected, this is an entire family.
I have a
Okay.
new way to say this. Who we throwing under the bus? That's
Okay. Who we throw under the bus? The entire Kardashian clan. All of them. The Jenners and the
all of
Kardashians.
them.
All of them.
All
I
of
want them
them.
gone.
Especially Bruce / Caitlyn. Just
I think he's the only one that I could possibly tolerate for a little while.
Nah,
But
he's
the
a
mom's got to
little
be the first
he's a
one.
little too weird.
The mom's
But,
got to be the first one under that bus.
but yeah, no, I
It
can see that.
is, to me, it is disgusting what these women have done with the name. I'm, I, their father was somebody of stature, and I mean, they took that name and just soiled it, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, all of them under the bus, and then put the bus in reverse, and then put it, on
Back and
drive,
drive,
and then
and then
reverse
back and
again, and then
reverse,
drive
and then
again.
back and drive. So that way you can just keep singing the wheels on the bus. So squish,
Keep
squish,
going,
squish,
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 squish.
squish, 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 squish. Oh, you should, you
Alrighty.
should. So Gracie, years ago, a couple years ago, that she was like really, really big on that song, and I finally just after listening to it like a million times, she wanted me to turn it on in the car, so I started singing the wheels on the bus go squish, squish, squish. You should have seen how big her eyes got. She was not happy. She's like, Papa, that's not the right word. Like, I know, but I'm tired of hearing this song.
I
That was
was
like
I think I
one.
watched one episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and that was the episode where they were celebrating their late father's birthday. They went out to eat, and they were all talking about Bob Kardashian and everything. And um I was watching it and I was like, how could these people be the way they are and then try to honor their dad like this? I don't get it. It just the disconnect was just so huge that it just like, okay, I'm tuning it out. Forget it. Just but all of them under the bus. So,
All right, so
all
I
right.
feel like we do. I feel like we do have to break in for just a moment. The astronauts are actually in the process of being recovered from the capsule as of right now, and
Mhm. They're all on the front porch.
they just the newly erected front porch. Yeah.
So now they
And
have to be hoisted up to the helicopters so they can be.
yep, the helicopter's actually about to be on station, but yeah, they were just clapping each other on the back and everything else in mission control. So, and everybody looks human still. So there was a
So far, so good.
there was an
I
AI
was
thing. There was an AI thing going around with them coming back looking like the
no,
Borg. And I'm like,
I was afraid that this was going to be life. Do you remember that
I,
movie?
yeah, I remember that movie.
Oh God, I hate that movie. I
I mean,
cannot tell you how much I hate that movie.
it still might be. You never know. They didn't start showing symptoms for a little bit. That's not,
Whatever.
that's
Okay, so
not-
okay, your turn.
Oh yeah, it is my turn again, huh?
Hmm.
All right. So honestly enough, since we already accidentally gave up Tudyk, another one on my list of people that I feel like need to be protected at all cost is somebody that Tudyk has worked with quite often, and that's none other than Nathan Fillion.
He's so cute.
Dude is just awesome. And like he's another one that just doesn't take himself seriously. Like doing the doom scrolling thing a couple months ago. I saw him do like this corny ass joke that's been around forever, but he just made it so cool. And he's like, why are there so many vampires in America but none in Africa? Because they bless the
bless
rains
the
down in
rains down
Africa.
in Africa.
And I was just dying because I'm like, you know what? There's no way that anybody that's got a stick up their butt would be dumb enough to do that real. So that
Oh no, he's quite funny. He had a small part in Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the second film. The first one was The Lightning Thief, and the other one was I forget, but he was in the second one, and he played Hermes. And so Hermes was in charge of UPS. Okay, and so when they were going in there, and all of this stuff is moving through to be shipped and packaged or whatever, and he sees a thermos of his favorite TV show. Of course, canceled after only one season. He
Firefly.
just sighs, and puts it back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. It was, I think it was the first one, not the second one.
The funny thing is he finds a way to work that kind of stuff in. Like there's even been a couple times they've done kind of side-eye jokes about that on The Rookie. Like there was an episode where actually Tudyk was on The Rookie with him and they managed to work it in there too. And I thought that was just funny. And then my favorite thing that he's done recently outside of The Rookie was for like a season, he played an alien talking squid in Resident Alien. That
Oh
was
yeah.
fun. That was fun.
Oh man. Yeah, definitely needs to be protected. Mhm.
But yeah, in my throwing under the bus category, again, somebody that kind of started off on the other side of the list because one of the first movie roles that I ever remember seeing him in that I absolutely loved was when he played Jack Ryan in The Hunt for Red October. And it turns out he's just a dick. And that's none other than Alec Baldwin.
Alec.
And he is still, even with everyone that has ever played that character, as far as I'm concerned, he's the best Jack Ryan ever. And I still can't stand him as a person, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm there too. I'm a big fan of the Shadow serials. My dad he used to tell me stories about the serials that he would catch when he and my grandmother would go to San Juan for the day, and that one was one of his favorites. And when I want to say it was NPR wireless, that was the catalog for NPR. They actually had all of them in cassette, the entire serial for the Shadow. I bought it for my dad for Father's Day. Yeah, Father's Day. And he took it with him to Puerto Rico. And my uncle enjoyed it as well, and he left them to my uncle when he was down there. My uncle asked me if I wanted them back, and I said no. You can keep them because I know my dad enjoyed hearing them with you. But that was one of my dad's favorite serials, and so when the movie came out, I had to go watch it. And his portrayal of Lamont was so good. It was so he was just so smooth and everything. And not gonna lie, Penelope Ann Miller and everything that she was wearing in that film was absolutely stunning. I don't know why she didn't do as well as an actress. Her career didn't really take off that much. But in that film, if y'all have not seen The Shadow, watch it just for her. She is absolutely stunning. She's complete and total eye candy. And of course, there's Tim Curry's in it too. There's so many different people. Ian McKellen is in it.
Oh,
It was a
nice.
it was a fun film. It really was. And his portrayal of Lamont Crane was perfect. So that is, I think, one of the few times when I can actually suspend my dislike for this as a person and just enjoy the film because it was that much fun. It really was well done. It didn't do well in the box office, but it's a fun film if you haven't seen it. And if you dig the whole 1930s, 1920s Art Deco, 1940s vibe, you will really enjoy that film.
You
But
know,
yeah,
I
totally
I
under the
have
bus.
I have watched that before, but now I kind of want to watch it again. But yeah, I
No,
can
it
definitely see that. I can definitely see
it, it
why
it
that's so
really it
fun.
really is. And I mean, I still want her entire wardrobe. I'm still trying to figure out how was it she wore this particular dress without it falling off of her because it was just completely backless and just barely hung on the very tips of her shoulders. But I mean, I'm telling you, just watch it for her and watch it for Tim Curry, and you'll have a lot of fun. So, but yeah, he totally under the bus, totally under the bus.
Nice. Uh,
All righty. So I guess for me, um, protected at all costs. I have a tie for this one, but I don't know. We might have time for both, so I'll just do one. Brendan Fraser. He must be protected at all costs.
yeah, he's a good one.
He's a good one.
Especially knowing some of his backstory the way that I
Yeah,
do.
yeah. He, I remember when School Ties came out. That movie it was more of a sleeper. You know, um, most people didn't go to see it at the theaters, but then it got very a popular wave when it came out on video and everything. But that was a really good film. Highly recommend. And of course, he did the Mummy films. I think he's coming back for the next one. And he did George of the Jungle. He did several movies in the 80s that were and 90s that were kind of questionable, but they were fun. They were a lot of fun. And I think was Dudley Do Right one of them?
I think he was in that one.
I think he did that one too.
I think
So
one of my favorite younger ones that he was ever in was Encino Man. I love them.
Encino Man. Encino Man was fantastic. And of course, I had to go watch it because I was an anthropology major, right? So I went to it and we had a ball. It was great. For some reason, some people don't like Polly Shore. Some people really do. I thought it was a great film regardless because of the chemistry between the two of them. It was really good. So yeah, Blast from the Past was an excellent film. Airheads, I think he did as well. All of these films he has, and then he did um, Gods and Monsters, also with Ian McKellen, about the life of James Whale, the director. And he really wanted to do that film because it was so well written, and he wanted to do something that was well written and people would not forget. And sure enough, it won an Academy Award for Best Screenplay, I believe, that year. And his role was not as big, obviously, as Ian McKellen's role, but it was, for him doing that movie, it was like he wanted to expand his acting chops, so to speak, and everything. And the fact that he took time off to actually have a family and do all these things, and now he's back. Everybody is just beyond thrilled that he's back, and his kids, they're all grown and they're like, our dad is back, that kind of thing. So yes, I definitely want to protect this guy.
Yeah.
Definitely want to protect this guy. On the under the bus one, this may be an unpopular take, but Stanley Tucci.
I can kind of see that.
I'm sorry. He has tried to make a brand of himself, and I just don't like it. I don't like it. This is something that we discussed on toxic masculinity, that I tried doing the Negroni, his Negroni, and it was awful. And I'm like, why are you doing this? The Negroni is an ISO. Okay. There are certain cocktails that are ISOs. There's a standard recipe for this particular cocktail that makes it definitive. Okay. That's an ISO. And so the Negroni is one. So he decides to, like, it starts with a gin and everything. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he says, well, I add gin because I like it. And I'm like, so it's not a Negroni. Why not call it something else? But he went viral with that Negroni thing, and then he went viral with this thing, and now he's just, and now he's in search of something, I don't know, food, and he believes that he is this master chef and everything. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're just trying to make a brand for yourself. You're trying to be a brand, and you have not done anything to earn being a brand at all whatsoever. So yeah, under the bus. You go under the bus.
Speaking of George of the Jungle, one of the astronauts right now kind of gave me that vibe because they're being hoisted back up to the helicopter, and all
Oh
I can think
yes.
of is George of the Jungle. Watch out for that tree. So going back to Fillion for just a second, because this was a great point that MD made. One of my favorite Firefly references that he's ever done from another show was Castle. He comes out dressed as Mal, and his daughter looks at him like, "Weren't you just wearing that like a couple years ago? You want to do it? You want to do that again already?" I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
that
that's
was
awesome.
that was good. That was good." But yeah, so that was fun. All right, so for this one, I'm going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to see if you can figure out who my protect at all cost is, based on a couple of different quotes. And I'm going to start with what I hope is going to be a harder one first, and it's not very long either. But where's my super suit?
Samuel. Samuel L.
Yep, gotta protect him. And I've kind of had a mixed bag with him, but I think my favorite thing was hearing how excited he was when the guys that were shooting Star Wars Episode 1 tried to keep getting him to come to London, and he had no idea why. And then they handed him a script, and he's like, "Wait, I get to be a motherfucking Jedi? Like, I seriously get to be a motherfucking Jedi?" And from that point, it's just like, seeing him,
He was a kid.
he was a kid again, and it changed my entire outlook for him. So that was just something that has always stuck with me, because I know that's exactly how I would have behaved if somebody would have come to me and said, "Hey, we want you in the next Star Trek movie, or we want you in the next Star Wars movie." I would have been flipping out just like he was, and it was just so cool to see. But yeah, that's another one why he's one of my gotta be protected at all costs. And again, have no clue what his politics are. Don't really care. He's not really family friendly most of the time. Like, one of my other all time favorite lines, English, motherfucker, do you
Do you
speak it?
speak it?
But yeah,
I cannot tell you how often I have used that.
same, same. But yeah, and then my definitely okay with throwing them under the bus, even though she's been in a lot of things that I've liked, but I've never really liked her in any of them. Would be Amber Heard.
Oh gosh, yes.
I don't like her.
I would have a special bus just for her.
She gets the
Just for
tour
her.
bus.
Yes, she gets
She gets
she
the tour
gets
bus.
the omnibus. She gets something.
Because she has done a lot of really cool stuff, but even though I like a lot of the things that she has been in, I don't like her in anything. Like, she was in Aquaman and Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. I enjoyed Aquaman. Didn't really care that much for the second one.
Yeah.
Justice League, which was and then Zack Snyder's version of the Justice
Ghost.
League.
What's the
She
name?
was in
Ghost
Pineapple Express. That was another one that I really, really liked. Didn't really
Ghost
care about
Rider.
her being in it.
Ghost Rider.
Was
Yeah.
she in Ghost Rider?
No, it wasn't Ghost Rider. It was Drive Angry.
Drive Angry, yeah, she
She
was
was
in
in
that
Drive
one.
Angry. So
But yeah, she basically was like early supporting in like all the mid 2000s. She had a little bit of breakout recognition from about 2008 to 2011. And she became most visibly well known for playing Mara in DC films from 2017 to 2023. But again, even though she was in all of these things that I went to see, I didn't care that she was in any of them.
nope,
So
totally under the bus. She gets the omnibus, big
squish,
tall
squish.
one with lots of wheels. Yes.
The she gets the special omnibus that was built in Britain, and it's a double decker.
Yes.
Just saying.
All right. So for me, protected at all costs, and I don't want anybody making fun of me because
Too late.
everybody here will understand why as soon as I say his name.
Too late.
Henry Cavill. He must be protected
Eh,
at all costs.
eh.
Shh.
I mean, it's your list. You can say what you want, but
No, the guy is like a very humble individual. He is total geek. I mean, one of the funniest stories about him is that he almost missed a call about the casting for Superman because he was messing around with his PC or playing a video game or something. He is so devoted to the work that he is, working on, that he wants to keep it faithful, and that is important to him because he realizes that that is very important to the fans. So for him, being faithful to the work, whatever is being interpreted on screen, is very important. And he is very, very much somebody who is very respectful of everybody that he works with, to the point that he gets criticism for it. Witness what happened with the People magazine thing, and how this girl says, "Oh, there's definitely a boundary. I'm not allowed to ask him anything." Blah 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 blah. Even though she respects it, people on the internet were like, "What a jerk he is that he doesn't let her ask questions." And I'm like, no, that's not what's going on. That's like he's saying, she's a teenager. I'm in my 40s. Anybody else doing this would be considered a pedophile, and I'm not doing that. So, I mean, for me, that I want to protect him at all costs because he is actually one of the good guys. Um, by the same token, under the bus, I would have to put Ryan Reynolds. And I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for that. Ryan Reynolds, I get it. He's very funny. I have followed his career since he was doing The Outer Limits back in the 80s. Okay. I mean, he was a teenager then. So I have been watching him for a very long time. And he has had a really good career. My guess is he has a very successful marriage as well. He has a lot of kids, it's all great and everything. But it has become for him a question of a brand. And once you reach that point for me, you're taking the joy of that away. So yeah, he goes on the best for me.
I can see that. I mean, you know, I was kind of ambivalent until the whole Mint Mobile thing, and then I heard about some of the stuff that they kind of do behind the scenes, and I'm like, he's got his
Yeah.
face all over that, and that's just kind of not cool. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, so I can kind of see that. But
Yeah, it's just, the facade that he has out is one thing, but it doesn't translate to, behind the scenes. Whereas, for Henry Cavill, it really does. For Brendan Fraser, always, that there is that consistency. It it is not constant with Ryan Reynolds, and it's sad because I know that everybody enjoys his films. He's very funny. Um, he can be a really good serious actor, but I just, and yes, I still enjoy his films. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I don't go out of my way for him. I don't think that he is the type of person that I would want my kids to emulate, in his private life. So that kind of thing. So anyway,
no, like I
right.
said, I can see that. But
Well, we're almost at the top of the hour, and I think
are.
we have the Questeros or whatever. I can never pronounce it, Jeff. I'm sorry.
The Curse of Stephanos.
Stephanoris.
Or as I call it, the Curse of Snuffleupagus, which happens every Sunday on Meet the Press.
Okay. Anyway, well, I guess we better wind up. So, Rick, why don't you tell us where we can find you?
Don't look for me; it's a trap.
It is not.
You won't be able to find me tomorrow because I'm off, but I'll be back Sunday night with Kingdom and Country at 10 p.m. Eastern, and then because BZ has launched a new paranormal show, I think we're going to do a crossover Sunday night at 11. So I think I'm going to go hang out over there, and I'm going to see if I can get anybody else that hangs out on Jux to see if they want to come with me. And then Monday night back with America Off the Rails. For everything else, just check the schedule because I'm all over the place and I'm always working somewhere. You can find me at RowdyRick73 on X and Facebook and YouTube. You can find the network at KLR Radio on Facebook, X, YouTube, and on Rumble. We are America's Podcast Network because for some reason Rumble didn't like KLR and radio. And other than that, I contribute to Twitchy.com, MisfitsPolitics.com, LoftusParty.com, and I produce the Loftus Party podcast, which drops on Tuesdays. But that's pretty much it for now. I think there may be Misfits Mischief coming up next, too. So you might get to do little Curse of Stephanos along with that. I don't really know for sure because I know Jen said maybe. So I guess we'll see. But where can folks find you, ma'am? What do you got for us?
At Aggie the Barkeep. This Monday, Jeff and I will be reviewing our book from last week on Spirited Books at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Then the Cocktail Lounge on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern as well. That's Aggie time with Brad Slager. And Wednesday, you can find me guest and on Inquiry at 7 p.m. Eastern. And Friday, again, back here again. He said, she said, with you at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Wow. Okay. I'm done.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Your list is getting about as long as mine and Amish's. Just saying.
Good night, everybody.
Enjoy the rest of your Friday, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us. Curse of Stephanos coming up next. Will team leader or do you get the rest of the party killed tonight? Got to tune in to find out. Bye, guys.